Hello, people. So we're here to talk about Babelsberg, which is a superb album.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now, I mean, I read a great review of this album in Q Magazine, so it must be official. The fact that I wrote the review of the album, it shall not cloud my judgment, you know. So, first of all, I mean, obviously, there's a concept, but it's not a concept record, but I mean, there's a concept behind this record. So Babelsberg is a real place in Germany, and you were going through Germany and you spotted it or something?
Yeah, I made a note of the name because it was a strange-looking name. And then when I was looking for the title, after recording the album's just a collection of songs, but I was looking for a name that summed up the record for me.
Yeah, you told me before that you were thinking about, you were looking for something like the Tower of Babel, but you thought that would be a shit title.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'd buy a record called Tower of Babel. But, but I wanted the idea of people building towers to reach heaven, or that kind of idea that, they were making, but maybe creating hell for everybody else.
Well, this is it, because they're creating these towers, but I mean, it's obviously the parallel is in luxury flats and stuff like that. And I mean, the studio where you recorded it was being demolished a week after. So it's kind of fitting, or was that part of the inspiration for it and stuff? Yeah,
that was the deadline for the record. So whilst we were recording, we felt in a real hurry. In a real physical hurry, because if we didn't get it done, that we could sort of never do it again, and so that was the deadline. And then, I just sort of hung around for a few months to try and finish it.
I mean, Babelsberg in your mind is a sort of imagined place. I mean, it has very little to do with the actual place. I mean, what does that place look like and what does it represent?
It'd be a dystopian tower block with fine luxury fittings, and maybe on the cover, maybe that's the sort of penthouse cafe where the masters of the universe, of the shit universe, go and hang out. And I think you two were going to build a tower in Dublin.
They were in Dublin, they were. Yeah.
And that got pulled because I think maybe they changed their minds because they realised they asked for a glass pyramid on the top of the building where they could go and hang out and look over Dublin or something. At which point, I don't know if the planning application was refused.
It's like it was actually. Yeah. It's true. I mean, it's quite a symbolic thing. The idea that you two want to build a tower and look over the whole of Dublin. I mean, it's phallic, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe it's maybe they're just getting bad press.
Not for me, mate. Not for me.
Maybe I'm being unfair.
So, I mean, the whole idea, the cover's amazing, right? So you commission this artist, this Russian artist, right? So his name's Uno Morales. Have I got that right? Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a pseudonym.
Is it? Right. So that's a superhero persona, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I don't think Morales is a popular name in Moscow, but
didn't I think so? Yeah, I think it is. But I mean, the cover's amazing, right? And I mean, obviously, you were telling me earlier on that you've got this sort of panoramic cover, which is like a gatefold cover, which actually doesn't fold, right? So it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, so that is, what did you say to him? I mean, how did you describe Babelsberg to him? But because I mean, obviously, you've got Trump there and Jesus, and in the GIF that you've got on your website, like Trump is showing Jesus something funny on his phone.
Yeah, well, I sent him the album to listen to and some suggestions for themes. I asked for a drone, military or domestic, and Jesus leading a dinosaur on a leash, and a politician lost in the desert, and Rosa Luxemburg I asked for, but she didn't make it. I don't know. I asked for a few things, and I really like his work, and there are motifs that are in all his work, and that ended up in it. And but I didn't ask for Trump, and there were lots.
Nobody did, mate. Nobody did.
There were lots of surprises, but I sort of thought I should just trust his instinct. But yeah, I think someone defaced a poster of it in Bristol today. They took out Jesus.
Well, left Trump.
They left Trump. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, well, no, say it, no. But anyway, obviously it's an orchestral pop album, right? And you did this brilliant. You have to. I don't know if anybody's checked it out, but on Spotify, he's done this great thing called the Burden of Dreams, a Spotify playlist, which features people like Scott Walker, John Cale, Plush. So I mean, what's the appeal of orchestral pop for you then?
Well, I suppose I would have been introduced to vaguely orchestral pop through records like Transformer. When I was about 16, maybe I'd have heard Transformer for the first time, and then thought it was a bit weird because it's such a smooth record, but it still seemed subversive because of the lyrics. And I was amazed that it was sort of acceptable listening, and I was, no one was making fun of me for listening to orchestral music. So I'm interested in playful orchestral music when people subvert it lyrically somehow. And what I wanted to avoid at all costs was symphonic rock, which that was the trick really in mixing, was making sure if anything sounded like symphonic rock, I had to rebalance everything. And I mean, I like Wings, for example, but it was Live or Let Die, for example. It was what I was aiming not to do.
Could you just feel the mullet growing? You could feel the hair going over the fucking collar there,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know if you know, the story of the record is basically it was recorded 2 years ago, and then you had to wait a year and a half to put the strings on because you were waiting for Stephen McNeff, who's an arranger, right, from Wales, isn't he, and you'd been working on something else, hadn't you? You'd been working on an opera about post-apocalyptic Wales,
Well, I was writing lyrics for him for one of his own projects, and around the same time, so I slipped him the I would say tapes, but I didn't. It was a file. It was a digital file. I slipped him a digital file of my music and asked if he'd be interested in arranging pieces for him for the arranging pieces for the album. And it just took a while to find an orchestra. And bless you. And then it was the pollen is out of control today.
So it was the Welsh National Orchestra you ended up with. And what is there, 72, 74 piece, something like that, is it?
Yeah, and weirdly, with some songs, I was asking, maybe it'd be nice to have just maybe a quartet on this part. And there's a no. If you break down the orchestra, you have to pay extra to the people who aren't playing or something. So it was sort of all or nothing. But I wasn't going to complain. So.
I mean, what does it feel like standing in front of a 74-piece orchestra, hearing them playing orchestrations? I mean, is it emotional, I would imagine?
I just thought I'd turned up to the wrong building. And,
It's like this is a stereophonic session, basically. Yeah.
but it was.
They like their strings, mate. You know what I mean?
But no, it was. I mean, it's emotional on one hand, but you know, when I'm playing with them, I'm just trying to remember the lyrics and stuff, and it's more like terror, the feeling, you know,
Right.
the feeling of terror rather than emotion. That's the overriding emotion.
Is terror. Right, okay. Did you remember all the lyrics the other night in Cardiff?
No,
No. Did people notice?
possibly. You know, it's
Well, the writers have been out less than a week, you know, so they've maybe got a wee bit of time. Who's bought it, by the way? Come on, who's bought the writers yet? Look at that, mate. You're on your way to number one, you know. So, Frontier Man, right, is about a fantasist. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, about delusional behaviour in pop and politics, and a lot of the same. There's sort of similar marketing techniques in politics and pop music, and a lot of delusional behaviour. It's a hangover a little bit from my American Interior record about a real-life frontier man called John Evans. So I probably wouldn't have come across vocabulary like frontier man otherwise. But I wrote it during Trump's primary run, so it's a bit about that as well.
Yeah, when people can hear that, man, talk about delusion, you know. I mean, it's been compared a lot to Jimmy Webb's songs for Glenn Campbell. Is that fair enough? Was that in your mind? Will you take that?
Yeah, it's sort of recycled music in many ways, I was just trying to write. I just tried to put together a batch of really simple songs in a way. They were recorded sort of live. It's a live vocal, it's fun.
Video's interesting. I don't know I'm sure a few of you have seen the video, but Gruff starts off playing in a bandstand. Somebody throws a empty plastic bottle, and then you go to extraordinary lengths to bin this, right? And you end up in Spain, don't you?
Well, I end up in somewhere inside my imagination, and I was just walking through the park, and then a portal opened, and luckily there was someone filming it all, and
It's like, there's the video. That's the video right there, mate.
and there's a donkey involved. So,
Need a donkey every video, really. Keep a theme going, you know what I mean?
it was Don Quixote. I didn't want to. There's a curse on anyone who tries to film a Don Quixote movie.
Yeah, Terry Gilliam knows all about it, doesn't he?
So I didn't tell anyone that's what I was doing.
Escape the curse, under the radar, you know. Right, track 2, The Club. What is this metaphorical club that you're being thrown out of?
It's a sort of self-pity song, but maybe inspired as well by if my kids are left out of a school party or something. That sort of universal sad self-pity.
Oh, everybody say oh. But there's a great trippy bit where the dance floor collapses and the dancers descend to different dimensions and stuff like that. So there's obviously a lot more than that going on in it, isn't there?
Yeah, that section really reminds me of Dire Straits, and it's I found it quite disturbing when I was listening back after mixing it. But I mean, I'm really into it, and but the sort of band gallop away. They're on one. So, yeah,
and then it slows down and you pick yourself up out of the rubble.
Yeah.
That's a really beautiful bit, actually, you know. So you win in the end, don't you? You survive at the end of this thing.
It's a song of survival.
Absolutely. There we go. Right, we've nailed that. That's that. Oh dear, I've got real toe tapper here. You know what I mean? Because there's a bit in it. You know what I mean? Fucking toe starts going.
It's the most toe tapping of the whole record, I imagine.
Yeah. So there you go. Watch your toes for this one. You know what I mean? But it's interesting because the lyric is about, you know, hey, it's great to be a musician, blah blah. But I suppose it's hard to decipher. You tell us, but it's about the hardship of that. The fact that these days, you know, music is selling less. Am I getting this right?
Well, it's just the gig economy has become. Everyone lives like a musician now. It's the most unregulated workplace. I suppose rock and roll was the sort of adopted by the capitalist world as the symbol of freedom of expression and debauchery, and they've sort of applied that to every walk of life. No, but then, you know, if I think the USSR missed the trick, I think in terms of soft power, if they'd have developed the ultimate pop band for a socialist pop band for worldwide domination, I think the Cold War could have gone a different way.
Could happen yet, mate. Could happen yet, you know. Now, limited edition Heart, right? I have to say, right, I love this tune, right? And I've listened to the lyric over and over again. I've not got the slightest clue what it's about. So, please explain.
So, quite a romantic song, and ultimately, you know, that I'm not interested in someone's limited edition panoramic vinyl record cover. Only interested in the limited edition Heart, and that's the basic gist of it.
I see what you mean. So it's anti-consumerist in a way, is it?
In a mild.
It's mildly anti-consumerist,
form,
right? Okay, yeah. Top tune though.
And it's a sort of complaint song about IKEA chairs and things. Falls apart. And,
right, I'm getting it now, right. It's all opening up.
It's about zoning out in IKEA.
Great harmonising guitar solo.
Thank you very much. I was listening a lot to... I spent a few months only listening to La Düsseldorf, anything with, what's the Klaus Dinger?
What, Can? Or not?
From Neu, his band.
Right,
I spent, for some reason, I was obsessed with La Düsseldorf, and I was trying to capture, or maybe like a Michael Rother.
Right, okay.
Kind of sound. It didn't quite work out, unfortunately, but...
Harmonia,
that's what I was going for.
Right, yeah. Because I've got Robert Fripp or Thin Lizzy. I've no idea.
That's what Robert Fripp ripped them off, didn't it?
Of course,
on the Bowie material, I think.
And then Thin Lizzy ripped him off.
I think Michael Rother was going to play on Heroes, and then he got uncalled. They called him to the studio, and then they uncalled him. And got Robert Fripp in.
Right, brilliant. So, I mean, take that...
To completely rip him off.
To completely rip him off. And Eno was having what he hadn't had, you know. So, take that call. I mean, is that quite a simple song? I mean, can we take that on face value? It's just like take a minute out of your day to...
Yeah, I've mentioned this before, but the gist of it is keep in touch. But that sounded terrible in the keep in touch.
BT ad, mate. BT.
So it's now it's called Take That Call, or Accept Your Calling, or something.
Very nice. Now, Drones in the City is a song that, for anybody that's heard it, works on a few levels, because for me, the first half is very orchestrated and it sounds like, Scott Walker, basically, Scott 3 sort of era-ish thing, but the lyric is, it's basically about civilians being killed by drones, isn't it?
It's a very abstract lyric, but it's about civilian drones and military drones, and I was going to map planes, there was drones there, drones everywhere. I don't know what I'm going to do without map planes. It's causing me deep distress. That's the only place I used to see musicians, I used to go to map planes and hang out with quartets and people, and now that sort of social space has gone.
I know.
And
where are you going to go?
Yeah, I don't know. Any recommendations?
Don't know.
Hardware.
Yeah, but what's a Maplin replacement? You know what I mean? Argos. It's not got the sort of vibe.
You have to go to the counter.
Yeah.
You have to do that number system, and
I know it's not got the same thing, is it?
Not social.
Yeah. But it's a serious point about drones. You know what I mean? And on a lethal level rather than playful level, isn't it?
Yeah, and the idea that in Afghanistan the people's relationship with the sky has changed, because it's there were cases like Riyad Khan, the guy from Cardiff who's blown up in Syria. Really weird, lots of weird things going on during that time. That's the sort of context of it.
Brilliant. Excellent. Negative Vibes. Now, this was in your Candyline theatre show, wasn't it? That's the only song that sort of existed from that into this, isn't it?
Yeah, this was the first song that was sort of complete for the record, and I was playing it live all the time with Cliff and Steve Sweet Babu in the Candyline play. And basically I gathered around a batch of songs around the song Negative Vibes that were just as simple and easy to play, and I was just trying to explore sort of songwriting and in quite a simple way, and it's not, I sort of realised early on that it wasn't an experimental record. I recorded some songs that were more experimental, but they just didn't fit on this record.
It sounds quite personal, this tune, because it's about a breakup, isn't it? And it's sort of saying we can get through this. It's sort of bringing positivity into a breakup.
Yeah, into falling out, and it's yes, very universal song in a way, and a lot of the songs are very simple in that sense. And
there's got that explosive bit, where it sort of slows down and has the pause, and then everybody bangs in. Did you manage that the other night in Cardiff? Or,
Yeah, no, I don't know, I can't speak for myself, but everyone else was great.
Brilliant. Same old song, really powerful opening lines. Coughing up blood on an American tour, left me bewildered, concerned for my future. Is this autobiographical then?
Yeah, it's about songwriting and the strange experience of touring to sing songs. And sometimes you forget about yourself. It's about the song and it's about the music. And then you sort of forget to look after yourself. And in most walks of life, if you sort of reveal your inner thoughts and your distresses, you get sacked. But if you're a songwriter, if you open up about the affairs of your heart, and you get, medals and gold discs and stuff. But if you're a waiter with an open wound, you don't get tips. So it's just that weird life of a songwriter.
Brilliant. And so you're a bit more healthy on tour these days?
Yeah, not particularly unhealthy, but no, maybe not a beacon of
You're not pumping iron down the, the Oklahoma City Hilton gym, are you? You know what I mean? I kind of see it.
No, not really.
Architect of Amnesia, is this Trump? Because it is about the fear, propagating fear, isn't it? To keep everybody nice and tame.
Well, just all the sort of populist governments sort of that want to maybe build physical walls to keep people out. They're probably just locking people in, and maybe just the history of the lessons of history not being remembered.
Right.
And it's one of the songs that was affected most by the political mood at the time in the media, and it probably had a bad effect on me. And I was worried about this song in particular being dating really badly, so that's why it's almost last but one on the record. Because it might sound awful. If things go well, then it's not going to date very well, so I'll keep it to the end of the record.
Tuck it away. Yeah. Nah, I don't think you've got anything to worry about, mate.
Oh, shit.
So, closing track, Selfies in the Sunset. Now, apparently you wrote this in Russia when you were seeing people taking selfies of themselves in quite inappropriate places.
Well, not inappropriate. I just saw an amazing sunset and people were taking selfies, and it's not judgmental in that sense, but they're taking beautiful photos and with orange background, and it sort of looked like LA or something. And then I turned around and there was another sunset behind me, and I realised the first sunset was the sort of light coming out of a chemical plant.
Right.
And it got me thinking about the apocalypse, and it's probably going to have quite beautiful photo opportunities. And lots of nice purple and red hues.
And people will be trying to get their likes in.
Orange. Well, just they'll be able to get some comfort out of it as the end comes near.
So, and Lily Cole, obviously, duets on this track. How did that come about?
I was aware that she was making music, and she was hyping my anti-leaving the EU song, and so I asked her to sing on it, and it was fun, and she changed some of the lyrics and so that it scanned better for her.
Yeah. And she's someone who knows about being photographed, obviously, as well. So it's...
Yeah, thought she'd have an insight into someone who's been photographed.
And I read as well that you sang the vocal on this in a studio in London. I think it's up in Kensal Green that overlooks this cemetery, and you could see Grenfell in the distance and stuff.
Yeah, it's a really eerie recording session in that sense, and it's a studio called Lynch Mob, and it's got a really crazy panorama of it's got to be one of the biggest cemeteries in London, but it's weirdly suited the song, and but very ominous as well.
Well, just to wrap up before we do Q&As, the thing about the album that I felt was that even if there are these sort of bleak or, modern lyrics, it's a very soothing sort of record, actually, you know, so you're smuggling these messages in, you know, under the cloak of beautiful strings and melodies and all this sort of stuff. So, I mean, there is comfort to be taken from this record.
Yeah, I think I'm quite a hopeful person, and I thought this was a really dark record. I thought it was much darker than many of the records at the time. But then after the arrangements were added, I think it sounds much more joyful and easier to take. It was really bleak at one point, but I'm really happy with it now, and hopefully the lyrics have sit okay there. But
Brilliant. Superb record. Right, so a round of applause before we do Q&A. Come on, somebody's got one of it.
Many years we've been following the Super Furry Animals, and obviously Gruff and the solo stuff. We've had Candy Layer, we've had American Interior, Hotel Shampoo, we've had a mind-blowing Sunday performance of a set two-piece orchestra. Where do we go from here? I can't understand the thought process to Sunday was immense. How can we improve on that? Tidy that.
well, thank you very much. But yeah, I'll probably react to it and do something really much simpler. That's what happens usually after an excessive recording process. But we'll see how it goes.
Anybody else? Come on. Yep, there we go.
What made you want to do a live show with Candy Lion with National Theatre Wales?
I did. It came initially from. I did one for a Neon record with Boom Boop called Praxis Makes Perfect. We did a record about John DeLorean, and we were in the middle of a tour. So we'd made a full-on concept record, and we were just touring it as a band or something. And we realised, shit, why isn't it a concept tour? You know, we should be sort of telling his life story. In any case, we didn't. But when we did the next record, we tried to do a sort of biographical gig about Feltrinelli, the colourful Italian, and that was really enjoyed doing that. And I did another one then with Cantillane with the same writer Tim Price and the director Wills Wilson, and just Cantillane as a character was really it made complete sense somehow to turn the song into a whole story and with songs.
Did you film it actually? Because I never got a chance to see it.
We filmed a version of it. I'm trying to do an animated version, like an animated film.
Nice one.
Around the story. That's the plan.
Come on in, come on, don't be shy. Can't just be Welsh people that will put their hands up. Look at that.
Greetings, Scrivani the Cymerion. Greetings, Scrivani
Yeah, just pabyn ag iaith sy'n dod gynta. My friend here was just asking what language I write in, so and it's whatever comes first. If an idea comes in Welsh, I'd write in Welsh. And vice versa in English. But I usually don't bother translating, and if it's in Welsh, I'll just do it in Welsh, and vice versa. Dyna nid synwyr.
Is your internal voice Welsh or?
It's maths, I think. I don't know. Electricity. Pictures.
Right, good. Spot on. Any more for any more?
Have you considered writing any history books?
No. But yeah, thanks for asking.
Have you got one?
I don't mind what you narrate.
You get writing one, man. You know, he just said he might do it. You know. Why do you think he would be good? Just the voice and the... Yeah. You not been on Jack and Ori yet then, no? You not had that call yet? Be good though, wouldn't it? It would.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Maybe they'd fall asleep. Yeah.
Oh no, well, you've the Candyline video, you've got a bit of finger bobs going on there, you know what I mean? So it's like you're in the area.
It'd be, yeah, I don't know.
Yep, go on.
You mentioned the album art, which is amazing. We've also got Keith Fowler mural there, which is fantastic. What's your favourite ever album cover?
Well, I don't know if likes the... I find the Gara album by Marcus Waller really funny, because it's like a picture of himself with sort of eagle wings and things, and it's a bit over the top. But yeah, it's a good question. I'm going to have a think. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just wondering how you ended up doing the music for the iPhone app, Whale Tail.
It was someone called Neil McFarland, who used to work a lot with Pete Fowler. Yeah, and he did the record sleeve for Juxtaposed With You by Super Furry Animals, and then he ended up making video games, and he gave me a phone and asked me to write a song, and it was amazing because he was sending me test versions of the game, and they were changing every time, and it was really exciting. And he gave me the line, I can see my house from here. I had to try and get it into the song somehow, and that was really exciting. It was, I wanted it to sound like a sports montage. I think that's an overlooked genre.
Brilliant. Any more? Yep.
You were stuck on an island which was 24 inches by 12 inches, and you had 72 hours to listen to one album in particular. What would the album be?
Would I have to listen to it continuously for 72 hours?
Just one album, nothing else.
Oh,
You still thinking about the album cover?
yeah. I mean, maybe it's an island. I'd listen to Surf's Up, and then he was the island as a surfboard, and try and leave by harnessing the island as a...
Now, there's a concept for the next record, you know what I mean? Any more?
I'm just curious about your solo work. Seems to be sort of like hallmarked by concepts, things like that, and the constraints of like either a soundtrack or a theme, stylistic. Whereas Super Furry, especially in the early records, were more eclectic, stylistically diverse.
Yeah.
Are you personally quite drawn to like the limitations of a narrative or a concept? It's the difference to the group dynamic, I suppose, in you.
Yeah, I've done a lot of sort of biographical records and things I never planned out to do that, but I've ended up doing a lot anyway, and they're sort of quite easy to write because you're writing about a particular theme, and it started out as just a different way of inspiring songs and trying to push my songwriting in a different direction, and but then I think I've done too much in a way. So with this record in particular, I was also trying to avoid sort of stylistic jumps, and what I really wanted to do was to make a coherent album with the same palette, and that kind of limitation. I think that maybe that's I was trying to make something really, really coherent for a change. But there's nothing wrong with incoherence, but I just wanted to change.
Any more? One last one, say? Come on, don't be shy.
Yeah. Been doing a song for the 70th anniversary of the NHS for National Theatre Wales. It's another commission, but like you're saying, I've been doing sort of commissions, which is weird because it's not my own idea, but I think it's quite fun, and like with the soundtrack or something, it's a chance to experiment and do something I wouldn't usually do, and then I learn something new for next time I'm doing my own stuff. But yeah, that celebration is in July, so that's almost done now.
Good stuff. I saw one more hand go up, so the last one. Oh no, there's two. Oh, one's Stokesy though. You can do one.
Last time I saw you was in Osaka, Japan. I know about 10 years ago. And I just wondered, did you enjoy the Japanese food?
Oh, yeah, incredible. Yeah, so good. Yeah, no, so always find it incredible that getting invited to Japan is incredible, and the food is so fresh. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Right, final one to Stokesy then.
Griff, clearly not enough people heard your EU song. Any chance, on the grounds that everything's going on at the moment in Parliament and beyond, get it out there again somehow?
Well, I don't know the mechanics of the pop. I mean, it's still out there. It's a failed protest song, but I quite like that about sort of digital. The digital realm, that you can just record something and put it out immediately. In a sort of rash decision, and just but I like the idea of a disposable song, pop song or something, even if it doesn't work out.